Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Zahra Putri Aliman. I am at third semester on Minasana Informatika University and I am majoring English Literature. So today I would like to present a topic about participle phrases and infinitive phrases. These two types of phrases are important in English because they help us create clearer, more detailed, and more effective sentences. By understanding participle phrases and infinitive phrases, we can improve our grammar skill and express ideas more naturally in both speaking and writing. In this presentation, I will explain the definitions, functions, and example of each phrase so that they are easy to understand. So the first slide is the definition of participle phrases. I would like to explain what a participle phrase is. A participle phrase is a group of words that begins with a participle. This participle can be a present participle, which is a form by adding "ing" to a verb, or a past participle, which usually ends in ed, an, or takes an irregular form. A participle phrase functions as an adjective in a sentence. This means it is used to describe or give more information about a noun or a pronoun. In other words, a participle phrase helps us add extra details, making our sentence clearer and more descriptive. So, the structure of present participle phrase is verb plus ing plus modifiers. And the structure of past participle phrase is past participle plus modifiers. So the first function is a participle phrase is used to describe or limit a noun or pronoun. It gives additional information that help us understanding which person or thing is being talked about. And the second function is a participle phrase is also flexible in its positions. It can appear at the beginning, middle, or end of a sentence, depending on how the sentence is structured. So here's the example of participle phrases sentences. The first one is walking through the campus, the students discuss their final project. In the sentence, walking through the campus is a participle phrase that describes the students. And second one is the girl wearing a red jacket is my cousin. Here, wearing a red jacket describes the girl. The third one is exhausted from the long journey, the travelers check into the hotel. The phrase exhausted from the long journey explains the condition of the travelers. The fourth one is the book written by the professor became a bestseller. In this example, written by the professor described the book. And lastly is smiling confidently, the speaker began her presentation. The phrase smiling confidently gives more information about the speaker. So now let's move on to infinitive phrases. An infinitive phrase consists of an infinitive verb which is formed by using to plus the base form of a verb along with its objects, complements, or modifiers. An infinitive phrase can have different functions in a sentence. It can function as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb, depending on how it is used. Because of this flexibility, infinitive phrases are very useful for expressing purpose, intention, or additional information in a sentence. And the structure of infinitive phrases is to plus base verb or verb 1 plus object or modifier. And infinitive phrases can have three main functions in a sentence. The first one is the noun function. When an infinitive phrase acts as a noun, it can function as the subject or the object of a sentence. The second is the adjective function. In this case, the infinitive phrase is used to modify a noun and give more information about it. The third is the adverb functions. Here, the infinitive phrase is used to explain the purpose, reason, or result of an action. Now, let's look at some examples of infinitive phrases and how they function in sentences. The first one is to master grammar requires consistent practice. In this sentence, to master grammar functions as a noun and the X as the subject of the sentence. Second is she hopes to study linguistics abroad. Here, to study linguistics abroad functions as a noun and acts as the object of the verb hopes. Third, the best way to improve writing skills is through daily practice. In this example, to improve writing skills functions as an adjective because it modifies the noun way. And the fourth is he stayed up late to finish his assignment. The phrase to finish his assignment functions as a verb explaining the purpose of his action. And the last is smiling confidently, the speaker began her presentation. This sentence contains a participle phrase, smiling confidently, which describes the speaker. Now it's begin to part 2 is case study analysis. And the first one is error analysis. Sentence number 1 is incorrect. Walking to the store, the wine blew my head away. This sentence contains a tangling participle. The participle phrase walking to the store seems to modify the wine, which is illogical because the wine cannot walk. The correct sentence is walking to the store, I felt the wine blow my head away. And sentence number 2 is correct. Reading books every night improves vocabulary. Here, reading books every night is a gerund phrase functioning as the subject of the sentence. Sentence number 3 is incorrect. To finish the assignment on time requires discipline. The error is subject-verb agreement. An infinitive phrase functions as a singular subject, so the verb must be singular. The correct sentence is to finish the assignment on time requires discipline. Sentence number 4 is incorrect. Her dream to becoming a doctor motivated her. The mistake is in the verb form. After the noun dream, we use of plus gerund, not to plus verb ing. The correct sentence is her dream of becoming a doctor motivated her. And the sentence number 5 is correct. The teacher explaining the lesson clearly impressed the class. The participle phrase correctly describes the teacher. Sentence number 6 is correct. The cat sleeping on the chair looked blissful. This reduced relative clause modifying the cat. And sentence number 7 is correct too. A beliefs of honesty builds strong relationships. The noun phrases is correctly used as the subject. And the sentence number 8 is incorrect. Mark, the leader of the group, he made the final decision. The sentence has a double subject, which is grammatically incorrect. The correct sentence is Mark, the leader of the group, made the final decision. The sentence 9 is incorrect. To understand grammar rules takes practice. The infinitive phrase functions as a singular subject, so takes is correct. Sentence number 10 is incorrect. Laughing loudly, the movie was not funny at all. This sentence contains a dangling participle. A movie cannot laugh. The correct sentence is laughing loudly, we found the movie not funny at all. The sentence number 11 is correct. The idea of helping others inspire the volunteers. Helping others is a gerund phrase following the preposition of. And the sentence 12 is correct. The boy holding a blue kite smiled happily. The participle phrase correctly modifies the boy. The sentence number 13 is correct. To travel abroad is her biggest dream. The infinitive phrases functions properly as the subject. Sentence number 14 is incorrect. His goal becoming successful required patience. The noun goal needs the prepositions of before a gerund. The correct sentence is his goal of becoming successful required patience. And the sentence number 15 is incorrect. The dog barking all night annoyed the neighbors. The participle phrases modifies the dog is correctly. And the sentence number 16 is correct. The wind howling through the trees created a spooky sound. The participle phrase clearly describes the wind. And the 17 is incorrect. The car speeding down the road, it nearly hit a pedestrian. This sentence has a double subject. The correct sentence is the car speeding down the road nearly hit a pedestrian. Sentence number 18 is correct. To right tell demands clear thinking. The infinitive phrase works correctly as the subject. Sentence number 19 is correct. Her fear of darkness often disturbs her sleep. The sentence is grammatically correct with a clear noun phrase. And the last one is sentence number 20 is correct. Her hand shaking, she opened the book slowly. This sentence uses a correct absolute constructions consisting of a noun and a participle. So here is the example and the meaning of general phrases. The first one is learning new skills. In the sentence, Jordan always believed that learning new skills was the key to improving himself. The phrase learning new skills refers to the act of gaining new abilities. The second is practicing digital illustration. In practicing digital illustration became his favorite activity. The phrase practicing digital illustration means the activity of doing digital illustrations exercise. The third is watching the young students learn with excitement. In watching the young student learn with excitement remind him of his own first steps in art. The phrase watching the young students learn with excitement refers to the act of observing the students while they are learning. These examples show how gerund phrases can act as the subject of a sentence while expressing an action of activity as a concept. And here's the grammatical proof. The first one is they end with in. This is what distinguishes them from other types of phrases. The second one is they function as the subject of a sentence. For example, in learning new skills is important. The phrases learning new skills is the subject. The third one is general phrases can often be replaced by a noun. For instance, learning can be replaced by education. This shows that general phrases truly act as a noun in a sentence. Now, let's look at some examples of infinitive phrases and how they function in the sentences. The first one is to achieve his ambitions. In the sentence to achieve his ambitions, he decided to join several weekend workshops. The phrase to achieve his ambitions shows the purpose of his actions. The second is to join several weekend workshops. In he decided to join several weekend workshops in his city, the phrase to join several weekend workshops describes the action he decided to do. The third is to keep exploring different forms of art. She encouraged him to keep exploring different forms of art. The phrase to keep exploring different forms of art explains the action that Maria motivated him continue. This example shows that infinitive phrases can express purpose, intentions, or actions, making sentences more precise and meaningful. So here's the grammatical proof by infinitive phrases. The first one is they begin with to plus a verb. This is the basic structure that identifies them. The second one is they often express purpose or intention. For example, to achieve his ambitions shows the reason why someone takes an action. The third one is infinitive phrases depend on another verb, such as decide or encourage, which confirms that they are indeed infinitives. By understanding these features, we can easily identify and use infinitive phrases in sentences to convey clear and the meaning. The example and the meaning of appositive phrases. In the sentence, his sister Maria, a passionate photographer, often accompanied him to these events. The phrase "a passionate photographer describes Maria." This participle phrase gives additional information about the noun, helping the reader understand more about her role or characteristics. Here's the grammatical proof of appositive phrases. The first one is the phrase renames Maria, giving more specific information about who she is. The second one is it is a noun phrase, not a verb phrase, which shows that it functions as a noun in the sentence. The third is it is a place between commas, which is a key feature of non-essential appositive phrases. This means that sentence would still make sense without the phrase, but the extra information adds clarity and detail. So here's the completion test. The first one is the students wait outside, the rain falling heavily. This is absolute constructions. The reason is because it consists of a noun the rain plus participle falling. The second is the teacher entered the room carrying a stack of books. This is a participle phrases. The reason is carrying describes the subject, the teacher. The third one is the sun is rising slowly. We begin our morning hike. This is a absolute construction. The reason is the sun is different from the main subject we. The fourth one is the little boy ran to his mother holding a broken boy. This is a participle phrases. The reason is holding describes the little boy. The fifth one is the street becoming quiet. The shopkeepers closed their doors. This is a absolute construction. The reason is because the street is different from the shopkeepers. The sixth one is the one sat by the window watching the birds. This is a participle phrases. The reason because watching describes the woman. The seventh one is the ceremony ended. Everyone living quietly. This is an absolute construction. The reason is everyone is not the main subject of the main clause. The next one is the dog followed its owner, wagging its tail. This is a participle phrase. The reason is wagging describes the dog. The next one is the lights flickering. The children became scared. This is an absolute construction. The reason is the lights are different from the children. The last one is the athlete collapsed at the finish line, breathing heavily. This is a participle phrase. The reason is because breathing describes the athlete. Here's the reference by the books or journals. And I think that's all for my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.